If you are getting ready to start your blog or you have just started your blog and you're jumping into your first month of blogging, you're probably going to have a lot of questions and you're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions trying to figure out the best things to do to make your blog as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. So for today's video, I'm going to go over the 9 things that you need to focus on within your first month of blogging to be a success as quickly as possible. You're going to be encountering a lot your first month, new tech that you probably haven't used before, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I want to make sure that you are focused and you know exactly what you need to be doing within your first month blogging. But just in case you are brand new to blogging and you haven't even started your blog yet, I want to go over some things that you need to do first before you start. But if you want a more in-depth tutorial, check out this video up here. And if you have already started your blog and you want to skip this part, I'm leaving timestamps down below so you can just scrub through the video to the part that you actually need to see. But the first thing you need to do when you start a blog is choose a hosting company. Now there are a bunch of different options and that can leave you really overwhelmed. And you also have the free versus the paid options. But I recommend if you want to start making money blogging, you just skip directly to the paid options because that is something that I wish that I did in the beginning. I started out on a free blog, wasted a lot of time until I found self-hosted WordPress. And the good news is WordPress itself, as in the software, is free, but you need to pay a hosting company to host your blog online. And the one that I recommend for bloggers is Bluehost because they're only like $1 something a month. And you also get your domain name for free for the first year, so your www.com or your site. Normally with other hosting companies, you would have to pay for that. So with Bluehost, it is the most beginner-friendly option to start with. It is a really good, reliable hosting company, and it's also inexpensive. Plus, like I said, you get that and a few other things for free. So if you want to check out Bluehost, I'll leave the link to that down below in the description. And then the next thing that you want to do is choose a domain name, which like I said, you're going to get for free with Bluehost. You need to basically just pick out a name for your blog, and that's going to be the .com of your site. So that is going to be relatively simple because I assume you probably already have a name in mind. So you just need to register that with Bluehost when you sign up. And then there are a couple other things that you need to do, like getting a theme and different things like that. But that is the most basic thing that you need to do to start a blog is sign up with the hosting. I recommend Bluehost, and then getting your domain name for free through Bluehost. And if you need any other information, like I said, it is up there. But now let's talk about the 9 things that you actually need to focus on within your first month blogging once you have started. And the first thing you need to do is narrow down your niche. If you've never heard of a niche before, it's basically just the topic that you're going to be talking about on your blog. You want to make sure that you are pretty specific in your niche when you start out. I know a lot of bloggers, they want to start out and do a bunch of different things. I was definitely that same way. But when you are first starting out, especially within your first month blogging, you need to make sure that your niche is as narrow as you can possibly make it. Because over time, you're going to be able to build up more posts. You're going to build more of an audience. You can branch out in the future. But your first month, you need to narrow down to like one singular topic. Because chances are you're going to be on a blogging schedule and you're going to want to do one, maybe 2 posts a week. And if you're talking about cooking one week, fashion the next week, and something else the other weeks, it's going to be a little bit all over the place. The big main thing that you want to do is get people to read one blog post and stay, and then read another, and binge read your blog post. And if you are talking about 7 different things your first month blogging, you're not really going to have that cohesiveness in order to keep readers coming back. And there's a lot of other reasons why you want to keep your blog niche down so that you can build your email list, so that you can sell your products, you know what post to create, and then you also have return readers. So for your first month, pick one single topic that you want to talk about and write posts only on that topic. And as I said, later on, you can really branch out. You also want to make it very clear very quickly who you are helping. You want to have your audience down. You want to know who you are talking to specifically because that is going to help you build a successful business and keep your readers there. So if we look at my blog, for example, you can see the very first thing that on my blog is exactly who I help. I help creatives turn their passions into profitable careers with passive income so they can work less and live more. That's like my mission statement. And honestly, my niche and my messaging aren't perfect, even though I am, 6 years into this? But the important thing is it's done. My niche is done. My blog is done. Posts are going out. You can always narrow down and refine as you go. The most important thing is that it is done. And then my niche is primarily about helping bloggers grow their blog. So I make my messaging as clear to that as I possibly can. And I also have a really heavy focus on bloggers growing on Pinterest. So on my homepage, I make that super clear as well. I have my Pinterest management services linked right there. And I have a free training that people can go and watch if they want to learn more about how to grow their blog on Pinterest. And you can also look at the type of content that I've been posting recently. And this is all very clear and very specific to one topic, which is growing a sustainable blog and business. So you want to make sure that you don't only know what your niche is, but you understand who exactly you're talking to, because that is going to help you create blog posts around that specific type of audience because you know exactly what their problems are. But you also don't want to overthink it because, as I said, your niche can evolve over time. So long story short here is start out small, especially in your first month. Don't look at all of this and get overwhelmed. Pick one niche and then one topic inside that niche and write about that for your first month, and that is it. The next thing you want to do is get organized within your first month of blogging because there's a lot of tasks that you're going to need to get done. You're going to have shiny object syndrome all over the place. But if you want to make money quickly and you want to grow quickly, you're going to have to focus on the most important tasks. You don't want to be pulled in a ton of different directions and get distracted by a ton of things that don't matter. I am incredibly famous for this. Writing this blog post and you doing this YouTube video has taken me multiple days because I've gotten distracted by so many different things. So it happens, but we want to try to limit those distractions as much as possible and focus on one thing at a time because that is how you are going to grow. Same thing with your niche, focusing on one niche at a time or one specific topic at a time. And the tool that has worked best for me to completely organize my entire business is called Asana. If you've heard of Monday.com, it's pretty similar to that. I think Asana is a little bit more advanced. It's a little bit more of a whole business tool as opposed to Monday.com, which is more of a project tool. And I think that makes it better because it's a little bit more advanced. I like a lot of the tools in there a lot better. So that is what I use to completely organize my entire business. Here you can see what my Asana looks like. I have a bunch of teams over on the side, which are essentially just little folders that you can put projects in, and then you can kind of put folders into folders. And my favorite tab is the task tab right here. So basically what you do is on the side, you open up teams and then you put folders inside of those teams. And then those are like the projects where you put all of the actual to-do lists inside of those teams. And then you can assign yourself different projects. So let's say every 3 months you want to review your affiliate marketing strategy. That's something that I have on my Asana. So that way, when I look at my tasks, it shows a culmination of every single thing that you have assigned to yourself. I organize my blog posts in there. I organize my client work in there. I organize my big goals. Everything is organized inside of my Asana. And then every 3 months when it rolls around, I don't have to remember, hey, I got to do my affiliate marketing strategy because it will show up in there. Do your affiliate marketing strategy, or this is when this blog post is due. This is when your TikTok videos are due. This is when brand deals are due, whatever. And it's all right in there. So this is a fantastic tool. It does get a little overwhelming to look at as just this very, very brief overview. I was quite overwhelmed at first trying to organize all of this, but I did it a little bit by little, just going in there and playing around with things and setting it up how I wanted it to. And now that I know how to use the software, I don't know how I lived without it because I am very ADHD. Things get missed, things go all over the place. Like, it's hard to keep track of everything in a business, and you need some sort of system to get you organized. Now, the way that I learned Asana was not on my own. I never would have taken this on if it was not for this free training that I took, which I will link down below in the description. It is a free workshop to teach you how to organize your business like a 6-figure entrepreneur. I learned a lot from that free training, and that is how I was able to start organizing a lot of these things and getting a lot of the templates that I didn't do most of this myself. I got a lot of the templates from the person that is doing the free training to help you set up your Asana completely and really get your business organized. And once you do that and you get your business organized, you're also going to need to set specific, clear goals for your first month of blogging and beyond. But we're really just wanting to focus on the first month blogging. You don't want to really just set any goal though when you start blogging. So like if you say, I want to quit my 9-to-5 job, but you have absolutely no idea what that means for you, then you're going to be working on that goal for a really, really long time. And that's one of the reasons why I like Asana, is because you are able to learn to break down your goals so that you can specifically see exactly what you need to hit and you get specific, as opposed to quit your 9 to 5 job. Because what does that specifically mean? You don't know what timeline do you want to do that in? How much money do you need to make in order to be able to do that? What do you need to save in order to do that? How are you going to make that money? Like, there's so many things that go into quit your 9 to 5 job that need to be broken down. So setting specific and clear goals within your first month is going to really set the expectation for how you're going to be able to hit those goals. So what I would do is set some big, audacious goals that are kind of scary. Biggest goal, quit your 9 to 5 job. But then how do you get there? Like, what do you want to do within the next year to get towards that goal? And maybe you don't quit your job within the next year, but you get to a certain point where you are closer to that goal. So like, big goal, yearly goal, maybe a 6-month goal, and then you want to start with your monthly goals from there. Now, your yearly goal might change. Maybe in a year you realize, I don't really want to do what I thought that I did. So like, the yearly goals do not need to be as specific. They can just be like a marker for knowing how you want to get somewhere, but your monthly goals is what should be super, super specific. So set them and then really focus on the monthly goals, since we are talking about just the first month of blogging. And then once you break it down, you can start to create your plan. So you know that you want to make money. I assume if you're watching this, you know that you want to quit your job, I assume. Or maybe you just want to make a little bit of a side income. Whatever your goal is, you need to decide, again, your goals, and then you can decide how you are going to make that money. And there are many, many ways that you can make money blogging, but let's break down the top 3 ways to make money, in my opinion. And if you want to learn way more about this topic, I do have a video out on this already, The Ultimate Guide to Monetizing Your Blog, which I will link up there or down below in the description. But the 3 main ways that I recommend you start making money is with affiliate marketing, which is what a lot of bloggers start out with, maybe doing digital products, and then also doing client work. Now, client work is the way that I was able to quit my job and make money working full time. And then the other 2 were more like supplemental income. It wasn't like a very consistent income stream, whereas client work was my most consistent income stream. But that was what I focused on. So if you focus on affiliate marketing and you really learn how to do that, then you'll probably have a better chance at making more consistent affiliate income, but client work was where my focus was. And I go a lot more in depth in the video that I will link, so check that out if you want to learn a lot more on that topic. The next thing is, I want to just encourage you to start posting and stop procrastinating. Because I know a lot of people, they buy the domain, they set up the blog, and then they never actually do anything with it. So in that case, you can technically say that you set up a blog and you have a blog, you started it, but do you really have a blog if you don't actually post anything on it? And I get it. It's overwhelming. There is a lot of things that are happening and life can happen and there's a lot of excuses. But just start posting. It doesn't matter if your niche is perfect. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect theme. It doesn't matter if your messaging isn't that great. But my advice would be, if anything is overwhelming you, if anything seems too scary to do, or anything doesn't make any sense that doesn't directly tied to you writing and creating a blog post, then forget about it. If you don't know how to download plugins, if you don't know how to get your theme perfect, if it's not detrimental to you starting a blog and posting your first blog post, I don't care about it. Especially within your first month blogging, the only thing that you need to be focusing on is buying a domain and hosting from Bluehost and writing your first blog post. That is it. So just set your blog up, write your first post, and start promoting it on Pinterest. That's all you need to do. And I have been in your shoes. If you're scared, if you're frustrated, if you're overwhelmed, and if you feel like you're not good at the things that you're currently doing. Because trust me, when I first started out, I created the ugliest Pinterest pins that you ever could have imagined. But now I spend my days teaching others how to create amazing pins and grow their Pinterest account. I literally created an entire course called Pinterest Simplicity, teaching bloggers like you how to grow on Pinterest. I did not start out this way, but now I have an entire course and an entire Pinterest management service where I do these things for other people and teach them how to do them as well. But my point here is, if you don't start, you are never going to get good at something. So just start. It's gonna be okay. And if you really, really, really want this blogging thing to work, you have to be consistent. Because like I said, a lot of bloggers, they set up their blogs and then they never post on it. Or they set up their blog and then they start, but then they get overwhelmed. So then they stop blogging. So in order to grow, you need to be consistent. If you keep working at it, you're going to grow. It is inevitable. You're going to learn how to create better posts. You're going to learn how to create better pins. You're going to learn how to do these things that you don't currently know how to do. But if you just sit there and worry about learning how to do those things, you're never actually going to get the experience to learn how to do them and get better. So just be consistent and keep posting, and I promise you will make something of your blog. And the next thing that you need to do is start driving traffic to your posts. Once you're consistent, once you have stuff out there, you need to learn how to drive traffic to your posts. And the number one way that I recommend bloggers drive traffic to their blogs is with Pinterest. And as I mentioned, I created an entire course called Pinterest Simplicity that teaches bloggers my super simple 4-step strategy on how to manage your Pinterest account in just 1 hour a week. I took all of my knowledge from working with clients over the past 4 years and developed a system that will work in literally 1 hour a week. Every single one of my clients, at one point I had 9 of them. Every account only took me about an hour to do. So I know the system works, and it's very, very simple. And if you want to check out my Pinterest Simplicity course, I'll link it up here or down below in the description. It is a super, super simple system. So if you are overwhelmed with Pinterest, if you're just getting started, of course, which is likely if you're in your first month, Pinterest Simplicity is going to be the exact thing that you need, because it's called Pinterest Simplicity because it is a simple system. Just get on Pinterest. Even if you don't take the course, there's a ton of free resources here directly on the YouTube channel where you can learn exactly how to grow on Pinterest. But if you want the full step-by-step process and me holding your hand through my 4-step process, Pinterest Simplicity is definitely where you want to go to learn. And then the other thing that you want to focus on and dabble a little bit within your first month blogging is learning how to use Canva. And I say that because you're going to be learning how to use Pinterest. So you need to learn how to use Canva because that kind of directly ties in with Pinterest. Now, Canva is completely free. You can pay for it. I do have the Canva Pro subscription. I think it's worth it because I use Canva quite literally every single day of my business. It's really like a graphic design tool, and graphic design is going to become a big part of your business. So it's a really good idea to start learning now because you're going to need it for pin graphics, graphics for social media, and a lot more. And at first, like I said before, I was terrible at things like pin design, but the more I did it, the better I got. And you are going to get a lot of practice designing Pinterest pins, especially if you plan to use that for your business. If you go into the course Pinterest Simplicity, I'll teach you a lot about that. It's just going to be worth it. Learn how to use Canva. And then another thing that I want to really reiterate to you is focus on one thing at a time. Now, this is coming from a complete hypocrite who cannot focus on one thing at a time, but I really try to do so because there's a lot that's happening. I mean, even in this video, I've given you a lot of different things to do, but just focus on one thing at a time. You do not need to take every resource. You do not need to take all of the advice that I've given you, but if you take anything away from this video, it is to focus on one thing at a time. The biggest enemy to bloggers, in my opinion, is overwhelm. Because just yesterday, I was focusing on way too many things at once and I got so overwhelmed, I was ready to just quit. I was ready to be done. I could not take any more switching of tasks. Just yesterday, I was doing this to myself. So give yourself some grace if you don't focus on one thing at a time because it's kind of difficult to do. But when you find yourself pulled in so many directions at once, you're likely going to get overwhelmed and you may even give up. I am quite a few years into this and I still feel that exact same way because it just becomes too hard to do anything when you're super overwhelmed and focusing on a ton of things at once. So what I did yesterday, when I found myself running around, I quite literally decided to reset the day. I took a breath and I decided to refocus. I went in the bedroom, I changed my clothes, I brushed my hair, pretended like it was a brand new day. I switched scenes. I was working in my living room. I switched scenes and I came in here and went into the office, put on some lo-fi, like calm, soothing music and refocused one thing at a time. Now, do you have to go to that extreme? Absolutely not. But sometimes I find as if I pretend to completely restart the day when you're incredibly overwhelmed and came in here and sat down and I ended up getting a lot of work done because I refocused myself. Like I said, you don't got to do all of that, but even maybe just taking a deep breath, closing your laptop, refocusing yourself, putting yourself in a different room. Maybe that'll help you when you are panicking to focus on one thing at a time because you're going to be able to do everything that you want to do over time, but you cannot do it all at once. So whatever method works for you, when you find yourself running around everywhere, do that, refocus, keep your head down. So that was a lot of information and I know you're probably overwhelmed, but remember, focus on one thing at a time. If you don't have your blog up and running, click the link down below, sign up at Bluehost, get your free domain, and then write your first blog post. Those are the only two things that you need to do. Sign up for Bluehost and write your first blog post. And everything else that I said can come later. But if you found that helpful and not overwhelming, which I hope you did, make sure to like if you like and subscribe to my channel down below for more content just like this. And I'll see you next week. Bye.